It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
This is kind of an episode, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing?
A lot
Just
better.
great.
Me too.
This is the Quaalude episode for anybody listening at home.
Might want to turn the speed up.
That'd
be cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Be like an
you
episode of the
believe
Chipmunks.
it. We're normally an episode of the Chipmunks. What are you talking about? Oh, no, wait, that's squirrels.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
I'm afraid to ask, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
He's afraid to ask me after that.
I think he's afraid to ask me anything at this point.
Oh, man. Well, I am feeling better. Yay.
Yippee.
I told you guys that Violent Night came out on Peacock the 20th, I think it was. So I finally watched it, and I don't know. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. It's kind of is a Christmas story. I mean, it is a Christmas story. It's about Santa Claus. It happens on Christmas night. You know.
So it's a Christmas movie. Okay.
Yeah. He almost threw Hans off the roof. You know.
Damn.
That's what I look for in a Christmas movie.
Right. This was kind of weird because if I had to pick two movies and cram them together, like Christmas movies, this pretty much would be like Die Hard with Home Alone kind of thing, you know, with Santa Claus as Kevin. I guess I was kind of spoiled by, I won't say that because then it'll spoil. Yeah, like I said, it was all right. It was violent. Santa Claus kicked ass. It was pretty cool, but I think I thought this was going to be something different than what it was. It kind of leaned more heavier, or at least to me, on the comedy side than the horror side of it. Because, they told us this was going to be a horror comedy, but I didn't really, this is going to sound weird, other than like the home invasion that was going on at the time, I didn't really consider it that much of a horror movie. There wasn't a lot of, I don't know.
Was it gory?
It was gory.
That's all you need anymore for people to call it a horror movie is a little bit of blood.
Yeah. But it wasn't scary. I know
Nothing scares you, Liz, remember?
Well, no,
we've had this conversation.
I still would have to say that I think a Christmas Horror Story, I've talked about this numerous times on the show, it kind of really punched that ticket for horror and Christmas. You know, you had multiple stories going on that at the end were all tied together, which made it kind of cool. But on this one, it was one steady story going on, and, you know, Santa Claus at the beginning's just a jerk, you know, and you get why. Kids always asking for money and video games and, you know, all the materialistic kind of bullshit. But, like I said, though, other than, you know, hostage kind of thing, it really there wasn't anything really scary about it. Even the hostage situation, like I said, they kind of turned it into a Home Alone kind of booby trap kind of thing with this little kid. So it was kind of like, I've seen this, you know. I love David Harbour. I think he absolutely nailed the part. I forget some of the other names. The little kid in the movie, I think she absolutely did a wonderful job of acting. So I'm not going to say it was casting on this movie that was off, but maybe the writing was a little off, that they needed to, I don't know. It needed to pump the horror a little more. So I'm still going to say, hands down, my favorite Christmas horror movie is Christmas Horror Story. So if you haven't watched that one, definitely watch that one so you know, can have a good comparison of what a horror Christmas story is. And then watch this and see how, you know, it kind of fell flat. I guess they kind of relied more on Santa Claus being I guess it's Viking descent. So, you know, that was kind of cool, but the rest of it was just kind of like, you know, kill that girl so she quit screaming kind of thing. So, but yeah, not a lot of, you know, and I will say no good people died in this show. So that was kind of weird too for a horror story. Usually you have a lot of innocent good people die and then you get the bad guy. But
sounds more vigilante than horror.
Yeah. And Santa Claus was the village. I was about to say village idiot.
How come there was never an idiot in the Village People?
There needed to be. I guess it was all of them.
Oh, I wasn't going to go there. Damn. I was totally not going to go there. Yikes.
Wow.
How was Leguizamo?
Huh?
John Leguizamo?
Was he the other main actor in the movie?
He was the main villain.
I loved him. Now, he was another one that did a wonderful job with, you know, the acting and everything else. And before they kind of told you his story, you could tell he just wasn't right. You know? And he plays that part really well. So I liked him. The dad, let me see if I can pull up who the dad is. The dad, I didn't care for him. I found him kind of Alex Hassel. I mean, he is a yuppie. Don't get me wrong. You know, he's, you know, rich too, you know, goody two shoes kind of guy. But I think he leaned too hard in on the little prissy tight pants kind of dude, you know, to where sometimes it was like, God, you know, I would have left him too. Run. You know?
Ouch.
But once again, that could have been the way that they wrote him to be. Because like I said, everyone who was in this movie did a really good job as far as the acting goes. So I'm going to chalk it up to the writing on this one. Maybe that's just what didn't hit it for me. But they're talking about maybe a second one. I don't know how you would follow up with that with a second one. Maybe another Christmas night kind of happenings, or he likes the vigilante justice kind of thing. I'm not sure.
Maybe less of a home invasion and more something else.
Yeah, find a cause kind of thing. And
well, yeah, the sequel happens in an airport, so there you go.
in an airport.
Don't listen to him. That was a Die Hard joke.
Okay, I was like, what? Why is Santa at an airport?
Maybe they can get Jeremy Irons to play the bad guy this time.
There you go. Or Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson wasn't the bad guy.
No, but he was in one.
He was.
Yeah, he was in 3.
The third one?
Hey Zeus.
No. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, he was in the third one.
I think, too, what let me down is I was going into this thinking like a Grant Morrison, Klaus kind of thing, and
right.
it wasn't.
See, that's you go in with ideas in your head, and it never ends well.
Well, that's kind of the way they played it up, though, in marketing. They show you, they showed us some of the fight scenes. Then they showed us some of the Viking, or I'm not sure what Santa Claus was. I'm saying Viking because Nordic, I don't know. But they kind of showed us that. So it was kind of more of that's kind of what Klaus was, you know. So that was on them. That's the trailer they released for us. There was no mention of a home invasion. There was.
Uh-oh. Sounds like someone's going to do a false advertising lawsuit.
I should.
Yeah.
Dang
Sue
it.
him for $8.
Right. I could, it'd probably be the only time I could get Grant Morrison to notice me. It was supposed to be like his. I still think if David Harbour would be wonderful as Santa Claus. Like I said, he nailed that part. I think they ought to grab one of Morrison's stories and try to, if you're going to lean into that, really lean into a gory, slice you up Santa Claus,
Give it up. You're not going to get a Klaus movie.
No, I won't. I keep looking and looking and looking for it.
And sure as hell don't try to turn David Harbour into it. Because that ain't him.
Well, he like I said, he kind of was. I wish they would have showed us more of what his flashbacks were, because that, I want to see that. But we only got like 2 minutes of it in the movie, and it's like, I want more of that. Whatever he was doing, whatever war he was fighting at, I want to be there. Screw these rich people and their money. I want that. So.
I think maybe you got The Last Kingdom on your brain a little too much.
Yeah, maybe so. Because I'm still I've got 2 seasons left of that, so maybe that's what it is.
You're very into it. That's all.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I like that time period, and I'm guessing the more I keep reading on. I just need to buy the books. I just need to, I've been reading clips here and there from the books, but I'm taking it because I don't know England's history. I'm doing good to know American history, but I'm taking it the Danes were Vikings that came inland. Like, they got tired of being on boats. So they came in and became, were trying to become like land barons and stuff, lords, and they don't want to be called lords because that's the Christian thing, but they
have
were
their own titles in their own language, and they're camped out in the middle of northern England. Yeah,
right. And they kind of wanted what England had. We want a civilization, but not be civilized. We want the forts and the fortresses and that kind of thing too. But they just have a different lifestyle than what the English did, and they were heathens. And so, yeah, like I said, I that's another thing it's kind of got me interested into is maybe what England's history is. I know we learned some of it at school, but we've learned our side of their history, if it dealt with us, I guess, but things like this was kind of left out, So it's got me interested in that. And like I said, and the books. But then what else? There was one other thing that I watched too. I can't remember.
Clearly, it was to take your memory pills, but yeah.
No, because I've already seen it, so I've been watching Rings of Power over again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought now that some time has gone by and I've kind of digested what I've seen, and there's not a lot of hype, not a lot of opinions out there right now. So I thought I'd go back in with fresh eyes and make my notes. So,
Cool.
yep.
Good.
I've
Make
almost,
them notes.
Yep. And I'm almost done with that, but that's been kind of interesting because some of it's been like, well, didn't Tolkien address this already? So, yeah, like I said, I've enjoyed going back and reading some of the original, but I understand that the Rings of Power was not at the time of Lord of the Rings, so I've taken it out of that mindset. And I think if people want to compare this to what Jackson did, you're always going to be let down. Those 3 movies were freaking masterpieces, from anybody, So I think if you're trying, it's a very big shadow to be in. And I applaud them for the way they tried to stand out of their own, but you can't completely do that because these 3 movies have created their own space, and you're going to have to step into it a little bit to tell the other half of the story. So going in with that mindset, I am seeing things a little differently. So it's been interesting.
Cool.
Yep.
Have you seen Silent Night, Deadly Night?
I think I did. That was the one that was the Krampus story, right?
No.
No?
No, this was back in the 70s.
Yes, I have seen that one. Yeah. See, and that was a pretty good one, too. The first one. I remember the first one with the Santa Claus arm coming out of the chimney. But I think that's what I've been looking for. And then all these other movies have just kind of, oh, but it's Christmas. People are happy. But they're being slaughtered. I mean, you can't be happy. Yes. Yeah, I'll definitely go back and watch those again, too. I didn't realize there was 5 of them. So I definitely haven't seen that story, all of it. But, yep, from 84 to 91.
Damn.
And I think why a lot of these don't get made is people have a hard time laughing during horror. It doesn't mean you're twisted. It doesn't. But some people feel that's wrong. And I don't know. Some of these I was laughing at the way that they came up to kill them because it was like, really? We're going to use that one, huh? But yeah. Definitely, it was definitely not a Silent Night, Deadly Night, for sure. And I don't want to come off like I'm totally dogging this movie. It is a good Christmas movie.
Too late.
Is a good, right? If you're looking for a scary story, this isn't it. It's going to lean more towards a darker comedy than a horror comedy. And I only say that because given the home invasion that's going on at the time, that's the scariest part of this movie, which really isn't that scary. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else smell waffles?
I wish I smelled waffles.
Mm.
I like waffles.
Waffle sounds pretty good right about now.
Doesn't it, though?
Or French toast. God, I hadn't had that in forever. Anyway, moving on. Mikey.
Oh, man. Okay. So, I feel like we just did this the other day, because we recorded late last week and we're recording on time for a change this week. So, while I didn't have much time to do stuff, I did find time to watch a documentary. Barely. Wasn't a terribly long documentary, but that's all right. We're not judging by size here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, apparently Liz is judging by size, but anyway.
Whoa.
You must have an enormous Schronstücke. But anyway.
Well, that goes without saying.
Young Frankenstein. That's not the documentary I watched. I watched a totally different documentary. I watched a documentary from 2004. Yeah, it was a bit of an old one, but that's okay. Called You Can't Do That on Film. And this was a feature-length documentary talking about the 80s TV show You Can't Do That on Television.
That was a fun show.
It was a fun show, and this was an interesting little documentary. It was, I will warn you, it was fan-made. But that said, it was still a pretty good little documentary. It could have been a lot scarier. It was not, though. Well, and I think the deal was he got a bunch of interviews. They did a big kind of convention/reunion like in 2002 because the show went off the air in like 90.
Yeah.
It started in like 79 and it was done by 90. And I think they even took a year or two off in the middle there. But so in like 2002, they did this big convention/reunion because a lot of the old cast members had come back for this. And he got a bunch of interview footage during that time. And then he went away and put this thing together. And it's really cool kind of to see some of the cast members as grown-ups talking about their experiences and hearing about what they're doing now, which now was 20 years ago at this point. So, there's that, but it's still kind of fun. And they talked to the creators and kind of how they came to the idea for the show itself and where the genesis of it came from. And they did some talking about writing process for the show. Apparently there was even at least one of the cast members that like stopped being in front of the camera and became a writer for the show at like the age of 16. Wow. So they actually had kids very much involved in all of this, and so it was really kind of that in and of itself is amazing.
Wasn't Alanis Morissette on that too?
Yes, she was.
Like about 5 episodes or so.
Yeah, for what they call in the baseball world a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
She was not. Yeah, it was a few episodes in one season, but it was also before she was like 14 at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was like before her whole pop star in Canada thing happened, which was before all of her one big album happened in the U.S. But yeah, and they actually talked to her for a bit, or at least they got some footage of somebody else talking to her for a bit. I imagine by 2002 they would have had a hard time getting her.
Yeah.
Specifically, but she was included in this somewhat, even if tangentially. But she was such a small part of the show itself, it was fitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you watch the show at all, this is a must watch. If you have any interest in that, You Can't Do That on Television, you got to watch this thing, and it's on Tubi.
I used to watch that all the time.
Me too, and I was actually kind of too old for it by the time I'm watching it, but it was still really good. I mean, it was just a string of dumb jokes, and it was funny.
Yeah.
And the grown-ups they had 2 grown-ups that they used, and they were both really good. They were both really good. I mean, they had some interesting conversations in this with Les Lai, who was the guy who played the grown-up, the dad,
Yeah.
the
The
principal,
bad
the
dad.
mayor, the
Yeah.
guy who runs the burgers joint down the street. Yeah, all of that, all of those characters and more were him, and they were different characters. I mean, they were you watch it and this person is different from this person, but it's the same guy playing him. That's how
Yeah.
good he is.
Yep.
And yeah, this is definitely a go watcher.
Yep, I just added to my list.
Cool.
Yep. Looks like the original show is on Paramount.
Cool. That would be weird to go back and watch, but not terrible or bad, just strange.
Yeah.
Yep. Only one season though.
Wow.
Did it say which one?
Looks like season 1 from 82.
Oh wow. Okay. That might have been the first Nickelodeon season then.
Probably.
It existed for a couple of years before that, and just in Canada, just was in Ottawa. Was where they
I
started.
think
Looks like it's also on Amazon Prime too.
Oh, there you go.
Premium subscription though.
yeah. You have to have Paramount Plus on there.
Ah,
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think Nickelodeon and Paramount are both Viacom, aren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Viacom.
They became Viacom back in that time for not long after that. Viacom bought out Nickelodeon, or maybe they owned them the whole time. Who knows? Who knows how that shit works? I have no idea. But, yeah, because one of the creators, they asked him what he had done since then, and one of the things he had done was he had basically run Viacom's production department.
Wow.
So he was kind of in charge of what was on TV for all the Viacom networks for a little while.
Just quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm. He went on to hit the big time for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there.
Who was the actor that was on the Howard Hessman program where he was the teacher,
Oh, head of class.
head of the class? This guy played the very intelligent computer guy. Do you remember who I'm talking about?
Dan Frischman.
Yeah. Because he went off and started writing, and he did things like Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, wow.
He did.
Yeah, he went on to start writing and directing stuff. If I remember
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So did Dan Schneider, who's on there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
done a lot
I
of
think that may be who I was thinking of.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I was not one to watch much Nickelodeon,
Mhm.
but I do know of the show of which you folks speak. So it was amusing stuff. It was innovative, and I really enjoyed seeing episodes of it. It was not a ritual for me to watch, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're not biased at all.
Heaven forbid.
Mm.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty. Les.
I've got pretty much nothing. I just put in the work for this week's episode, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
He's not the best color man in baseball for nothing, folks.
That's right.
Damn straight.
I got the opportunity to see a couple films that I was kind of curious to see. I think I mentioned one of the previous weeks about me being on Vaughn and watching this one channel where at that time they were playing Emergency, the series Emergency, and then did the TV movies. They've been showing some other shows too, but just the other night, just before they started up the 60s Dragnet series again, they showed the 1954 movie and the 1966 TV movie. And those were the first times I had the opportunity to see those. Richard Boone was in the 1954 movie. He played Jack Webb's supervisor. Richard Boone, Paladin from Have Gun, Will Travel.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, and here's something else, because I know if anybody who's watched the 60s Dragnet series, there's a little woodenness in the acting. There's some of the stuff that's kind of an eye roll and all that, and all that. But some of the stories are pretty good. But I've never seen the 50s series. I want to. But watching the 54 movie, it was played straight, and Jack Webb directed it, just like he did the 60s series and the 66 movie. But the tone and the vibe of the movie is a lot more like, I don't want to say noir, but a crime film. I mean, and it's him doing the narration and all that, but it was just a different vibe. And you're just going, what happened between 54 and 67 for Jack to kind of make this change? I guess trying to be a little bit more topical, since they were dealing, some of the episodes dealt with drugs or child abuse or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that was the stuff he had wanted to talk about in 54 but couldn't get away with.
It may be. I don't know. But if the 50s series is like the 54 movie, I definitely want to watch it, because I thought that was really good. And it's funny seeing, even then, there's a lot of actors in there that you'll see in the 60s series. So we talk about, Tim Burton has a certain group of actors that he always use. John Carpenter's the same way. Jack Webb obviously is the same way.
Rob Zombie.
Mm-hmm. No, Rob Zombie was not in Jack Webb's group.
That's
not
right.
At all.
Yeah.
That was a totally different guy. I'm kidding.
So.
But yeah.
But yeah, I definitely recommend watching the 54 film, because if you hear the name Dragnet, someone talking about the show, and you think of the 60s stuff and kind of just go, okay, I think you need to see this film, and I definitely want to check out the 50s series and see if that is made out of the same mold. That may be a very interesting series to watch.
Was the early movie the one about, it started off with the guy buying the insurance for his plane or for the flight?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, see, I think it would be interesting just to kind of get a sense of what cop shows were like back then. I mean, they're all over the place now. But what they are now is very different from what it was back in 1950, whatever.
Yes.
For me, being a weird history nut, I would be interested in seeing what was normal back then.
And the only one of that type of show back of that time period that I have seen, I haven't seen a lot of them, is The Untouchables.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that around mid-50s?
Late 50s, I think.
Late 50s. Late 50s? Okay. I can't think of anything else.
The Robert Stack one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other cop show of that time.
At least not
I
a
know
serious one, right?
Yeah, serious. Yeah.
Highway Patrol.
I've never seen it.
Well, and what about that one with, was it Richard Carson? I Led Three Lives. He was like a cop and FBI and KJB or something like that.
I haven't seen that one, so I don't know. Yeah.
3 Lives.
Definitely.
I can barely keep down one. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
Right? You know,
I want to watch that just so I can see how the bastard does it, you know?
he did it with class, man. He was like, even his wife was fooled, you know.
There you go.
Yeah, I may have, and I'm just not recalling it right now. But yeah, but it was really cool, kind of watching that movie, especially the way it ended, because it ended on an action sequence involving Jack Webb, which is kind of hard to believe.
You don't think of it for sure. It seems like such a kind of sedate, him basically just walking around asking questions thing, interviewing people.
Yeah. And matter of fact, the 66 kind of did the same thing. Because there was the whole thing of them trying to locate this guy who was a quote-unquote photographer who is getting models to take pictures, and then he's turning around and killing them. And so they're trying to locate the missing women. So
there you go.
Yeah, so between that and catching up on my MASH, which is, God, I don't know what it is about this time. I'm catching a lot of stuff. I'm going, what the hell? Why hadn't I noticed this shit before?
Because you were 12 when you watched it before.
Well, I've been doing this binge watching the last couple of years.
Oh yeah. I forgot you said that. Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I just sat there and just kind of just let it go and all that. But for some strange reason, I'm kind of, this time I seem to be a little bit more analytical. And you mentioned last week going, 11 seasons dealing with a war that lasted 3 years, or 3 or 4 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. You can only do so much, but it caught me the other day because it was season 4, the end of the second season, where they are announcing, okay, here's the new cast, since we already lost Wayne Rogers, McLean Stevenson. So here's our new cast and all that. And they say, and introducing Harry Morgan as Colonel Sherman Parker, who takes command on this date, September 12th, 1952. Which a couple of days earlier, I'm watching the episode on season 9, which is the one in the year in the life of the MASH unit, where it starts on New Year's Eve and ends on New Year's Eve. You vaguely remember that one? Mm-hmm. New Year's Eve 1950 to New Year's Eve 1951, but somehow Sherman Parker's there then. Mm-hmm. Once again, continuity.
Well, and they did, in addition, I don't think it was the same one. They did the one where with Klinger and it was the whole 1951 baseball season.
Yeah. It's that.
It's the same one? Oh, okay.
It's the same one, yes. Because there's one that I always laugh at. I always laugh at this because I caught that almost from the get-go. Yeah, where the Giants win the pennant, mm-hmm. And you see
the shot heard around the world.
Yes. Winchester standing there, he drops his cap because he just lost out. Mm-hmm. Immediately, the next scene, he's down on the ground, but he's got his cap in his hand. Like, okay, so did he grab it when he fell? Okay.
That's just continuity. Somebody just screwed up on continuity.
Right. That's just them
But-
on set not paying attention to that sort of thing. That's all.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's just kind of funny. But you know what? A lot of people didn't catch that.
Right.
True.
The thing that really got me was this was the first season. The episode was they have this nurse that's kind of cute but not really beautiful and all that, and none of the guys were interested in dating her. Y'all might vaguely remember this one, and it was the whole thing of the women of the MASH side, like, well, you know what? Unless someone actually takes her out on a date, you know, y'all are locked out. You know, we're going to have nothing to do with you. And Hawkeye literally draws the short end of the stick and has to date this nurse, and comedy ensues, quote unquote, comedy ensues.
Oh, of course.
Literally the next episode. Radar gets a Dear John letter in the form of a record saying, he's getting dumped by his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's just devastated in all this. So Hawkeye and Trapper try to fix him up on a date with the nurse, which of course none of the nurses they don't want to date him. It's just like, what the actual fuck, people?
Uh-huh.
So it's like I said, all of a sudden I'm just watching this with a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's just things are popping out at me, going, okay. This is not right. But like another continuity issue, there was an entire episode late in the run where essentially the storyline is Margaret gets a record player, but she has no records. They won't come for another 4 to 6 weeks or some such. Meanwhile, Honeycutt damaged a needle on Winchester's record player, so he can't play his records. So they kind of team up together, and then da-da-da-da-da-da.
And hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues, yes. Then, a couple days later, I'm watching something in season 2, and there's a scene in Houlihan's tent, and clearly behind her is a record player. I'm going, oh, okay. So it's been kind of fun. It's been kind of curious. I mean, come on. They were just writing stories. Continuity or that kind of stuff was the first thing from the mind. They were just wanting to write a good script.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. But it's just kind of funny. Of course, and they were writing this at a time where, you do an episode and, yeah, it'll get shown in reruns, hopefully, sometime down the road. And they're not going to be in order, so you're not going to, it's the whole concept of binge watching
didn't exist back then.
Yeah, it didn't exist. No one even thought about that kind of stuff back then. So I understand that, but it's been kind of funny going through this round and then all of a sudden catching these types of stuff.
Yep, it's fun to spot the details.
Yeah. So. Okay. Before we get into this week's discussion, I do want to point out that we do have a Discord that's available for everybody to come join us. If you like to hang out with us, we post a lot of news items, stuff for discussions, stuff to laugh at. We'll post some trailers or video clips, some music videos, have some fun stuff going on the Discord. So if you want to hang out with us, the sign up is free. The app is in all the app stores. We do have open invitation on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. So come join us today.
Yeah.
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 We have fun.
Fun. All right. It is casting call time, our first one of the year.
Dun,
Woo-hoo.
dun, dun.
And I hope you're not tired of the 70s Super Sons discussion, because that's who the casting call is involving. The Super Sons, this is going to be a 1975 TV movie. I kind of see it being a CBS Saturday night film. So we have put together our casts, and who would like to go first?
I can go first if you want me to.
What? However,
Sure.
unless Mike or Les wants to go first.
No, Liz is good at going first.
Please.
Okay. So 75. I may be off on some of my ages, but there was a couple of them. It was like, I can't cast him because he'd be 5. So this is what I came up with. For Superman, we'll start with Superman Clark first. Of course, when I think 75, I know it was a lot earlier than this, but I always think of George Reeves. And I think of that nice structured face that he had and just the total sold the Superman package. So I fast forward a little bit and I went with Bill Holden. But when I made my picks, I also was picking the son. So I kind of had to, who could be his dad. So Superman wasn't cast first. His son was. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever order you go in is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, as far as I picked them, that's how my thing. A lot of this came to. They had to fit the role, of course, but they had to look like they would be that person's dad. So.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Good choice.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Who'd like to go next?
Oh, I'll go next.
Okay, Mikey.
I like to go second.
Mm.
So to do this, to get this straight in my head, I had to sort of set vague ages
Mm-hmm.
for the characters, at least for the Superman and Batman bunch. So I kind of decided to peg Superman and Batman around 50, and with the kids being like 20 or so. How well I'm going to stick to that, I'm not 100% sure. I was doing the best I could, but as I
At 2
mentioned
o'clock in
in
the
the pre-show, I was doing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, so
Right.
we'll see if my math was right.
It's okay.
But I started thinking 70s. Okay, what happened in the 70s? I started looking up shows in the 70s. And so the person I picked for Superman might be slightly unorthodox, but I think he's a good enough actor to manage. And he also sort of looks the part, I think. I picked James Garner.
Okay.
I could see that.
I think he's got the kind of rugged good looks thing. He's tallish, dark hair. And dude could act too. That's the thing that I think a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
He could do serious and funny.
He could.
Hey,
like that.
I never say no to James Garner.
And this was a couple of years before Rockford Files started, I believe.
Yeah.
So
The Rockford Falls was like 80s, wasn't it?
I think it
No,
started
it was
like
late
77 or something like that and ran
Yes.
for a few years. It ran into the 80s. But yeah.
Should have hit the brakes. Okay.
74 to 80.
Oh, there you go. So he was doing it. There you go.
Yeah, but they always did movies and stuff during the ball on series, so it's still doable.
Oh, yeah.
I like the choice.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. Yeah.
Okay, Les.
Okay, let's see. Soups.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a television actor that ran on a series for a long time. Craig Stevens. Craig Stevens played Peter Gunn.
Ah.
Okay.
That was James Bond. Never mind.
Okay, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Totally. I can see it.
Yep.
All right. For me, mine was a little bit out there. I'll admit. He at this time he was primarily known as a movie actor, but at this point he was doing TV movies. He did some. You would actually need to get rid of the curly hair, but he's had straight hair in the past, and he actually he's one of those that played Sinbad. I went with Patrick Wayne.
Hang on, let me Google.
Would he have been of age?
He would have been about 40 at the time, in the 40s.
He would have been. He would have been.
He was born in 1939.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost cast his daddy.
He had a little bit of a curl hair back then, but at that point, but still.
But so did Superman back then.
They had the one
They
curl
had
on top, right?
Yeah.
Well, the one curl, yeah.
And the kind of wavy hair in the back sometimes. I like that.
Yep. I can see it.
And I noticed that what all of us did was pick somebody who had a very strong face, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next.
All right. Now, for my Superman son. Don't confuse there. Yeah, he would have been a little less than 20 because he was born in 58. But a lot of my shows, he was like the teen heartthrob, the after-school special guy. So I went with Clark Brandon. I think he might have also been in Bad News Bears, but if you've ever seen an after-school special, he was in it.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
That guy.
Okay.
Once you see him as a kid, it's like, yes, I remember him.
Yeah,
that guy.
But he's another one that would have the strong face and the dark hair and, I think Bill Holden could definitely be his daddy. Who knows?
Cool.
As long as none of these guys say, "Who's your daddy?"
Who's your daddy? We haven't got to Batman yet.
I think that saying came a little later, but okay.
Yeah.
Could go either way there.
Right. Alrighty, Mikey.
Oh, that brings up me. Okay.
Yeah.
So Clark Jr. was one that I struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's probably the only one I really struggled with. Because the person that popped into my head first that I thought would be perfect does not fit the bill physically at all.
Yeah.
Because Richard Thomas is like 5'8". And I was like, okay, but he's the boy. He could do the young cerebral Boy Scout thing so well, but he just doesn't look the part. So if there's some way to make him, I mean, there aren't lifts in your shoe that will take you up 6 inches. So that's probably a problem. And honestly, the best candidate I came up with, and I'm not entirely happy with, who would actually have looked the part a little better, was Barry Williams. And I mean, maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have, other than the Brady Bunch, I don't have much experience with the guy. I didn't really watch stuff that he did after that. I don't think he did a ton anyway, but.
I almost cast him for this too.
Oh, well, maybe I'm not too far off then. I don't know.
No.
Well, Mikey,
Mm-hmm.
that's who I casted.
I wondered
That's
if we'd get some
hilarious.
crossover for this one, honestly.
Les?
There we go.
So.
He's like, no, he went with Bobby.
Okay. I'm not, if I'm crazy, I'm the same crazy as you people, so it's all good then.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I feel better now.
So. Okay, Les, who did you pick?
For me, he would have been about the right age, and that was Nick Nolte.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Pre-motorcycle accident.
Even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about him either, and I know he was around.
But well, you know, he hadn't had an arrest yet, so no one thought of him.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Oh, well, I mean, you know. I liked Nick Nolte.
Mm-hmm.
Even his later starting, I guess, newer stuff. I liked that too.
And he definitely would have fit the part physically.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Big
Yeah.
He would have.
That's, I mean, as opposed to Barry Williams, and I knew that when I casted. I was like, well, you know, he's not muscle bound, but you know, it's a TV movie. No one's really going to.
We're going to put his ass in the gym for a couple months beforehand anyway. It's fine.
No.
They all do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I totally forgot about him being around.
Yep.
Because he was in. Go ahead. I'll have to go back and look and see. Because I just saw him recently in something. But go ahead. Go ahead with the. We're going to be doing Batman now.
I think I've seen him in I don't know if it was Hallmark or Lifetime or some kind of those kind of movies. Not too long ago.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Batman was my hardest one. We got to age him for a kid, but I still wanted somebody who was cool and could kick some ass. And this name kind of popped out at me, and I know you guys are going to laugh because he has more than one meaning on this show. And I went with Steve McQueen. But, you know, he's done a lot of the action movies and the fast cars and stuff, so I figured he would, as Batman, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw kind of going back. I'm sorry about that. I saw Nick Nolte on the episode of Emergency back in 74, so right around that time frame. So
there you go. Makes sense that it's fresh in your head too.
Yeah. So yeah, that works.
I got no problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with him having played a younger Batman a few years before, honestly.
Yeah.
I can totally see it. He's got that intensity thing. He's got that. He can kind of smolder.
Yep.
When he needs to.
Well, he's got the intensity, and he's also got the good looks, so he could play the playboy part a little bit, you know.
I mean, you watch him in The Magnificent Seven, and that could be Batman. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, Mikey?
I went for the cool ass kicker also, but in a slightly different direction. Here's another name that's come up a lot on our show, though. I decided to go with James Coburn for Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have to darken his hair a bit, but he just does the smooth thing so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Batman to do the stuff that he does, he needs to be somewhat smooth.
Yeah. He does.
I like it.
I do too.
As do I.
Les?
For Batman, I reached a bit, but I don't think it's out of the question. I went with Tom Laughlin. He of Billy Jack fame.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
I like
could see
that.
that.
Yep.
I could see that.
Yeah.
He does have like an intensity in his face.
Oh yeah, and always like this really serious look too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And kick some ass.
Mm-hmm. Which he needs to do.
Oh yeah.
You thought yours was a reach. That mine may have been a little bit of reach, but it was the first. This was actually the first one I cast because I was like, I for some strange reason I could see it. He could definitely pull off the Playboy side, and he did have a nice physique. I went with Dick Gaudier.
Okay.
Oh,
That is an interesting choice.
That is an interesting choice. I would not have thought of that.
How do you spell his last name?
Gaudier.
Tier.
He was on Get Smart.
Ah, yeah. I like that.
Definitely had the look.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
He'd be a good Superman too.
Yeah,
With
believe
the
me,
physique that he had.
believe me, I really wrestled. I was like, okay, I want to cast him, but who do I cast him as? Because it was either one,
Yep.
and I was like, oh, he's got to be Batman. We're gonna do this. Let him do Batman.
Yep.
I like that.
Cool.
And he's diverse enough that he could pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was kind of my thinking. But, I wasn't sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Right.
Okay, so I guess we need to do Bruce Jr.
This is the one that I wanted River Phoenix to work so bad here.
Oh God.
But he would have been like 5. But I think he would have made a perfect Batman son. Just I kind of was thinking more teens, because kind of like the comic books where they're trying to prove themselves and that kind of thing. So I didn't. Instead, I thought, well, Batman's teenage son's probably got a big attitude and a major chip on his shoulder. So I went with John Travolta.
You're so stuck. You're so stuck on Damien.
I am.
Funny thing is, I actually could see Travolta doing this too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not who I picked, but I'm with you.
And he would get his hair more from his mama, not his daddy.
I think for this, if we're going with the comics, you got to cut his hair a little bit. I mean, it could be a little longer than Daddy's, but you don't want to
That
get
would
too
be
crazy.
the rebellious thing. Ain't cutting my hair, make me.
Or have him grow it out throughout the course.
I'll just put a little creases to work.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought about Travolta, but yeah.
And River Phoenix looked like he could have been Steve McQueen's son too. That's why I was so wanting him to work, but later I'll get him.
Right. I think at 5 he would probably have been hard pressed to play a teenage role. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good, but I don't know about that.
Yeah,
let
not
him
that
age
good.
a little bit. Right.
Okay.
That's what special effects are for.
We shoot this we shoot the reboot in 1990, and maybe you could pull that off, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. My turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I sort of struggled a bit with. I don't know if I struggled with this or I just sort of settled on the first person I saw that I thought would work physically. I wasn't as concerned with. I mean, rebellious teenager is pretty easy to pull off. So I wasn't so worried about getting somebody who I thought could act. I just figured we'd get somebody in that 18 to 21 age range or so. I don't actually know for sure what age this guy was at the time, but I wanted somebody who would look like Dad and be the pretty playboy look type. So I picked Bobby Sherman.
Okay.
So we get a dance number 2?
Well,
Yeah.
we could, I guess. I mean, if the boys are off on their own trying to make their own way and all that, I don't see any reason not to have a scene in a nightclub,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Him and my Batman Jr. could do a dance off.
There you go.
Okay. I know. Yeah, I like it. Good work.
Do too.
As long as he doesn't. What was the song he did with about his wife, the passing of his wife?
Oh, what was the name of that song?
Talking about the tree and all that.
His last kiss or last embrace or last something.
Something like that, yeah.
Wish I'd Misfits last caress go through my head.
No, I think that's a different
A little
song.
different. Yeah.
As long as he doesn't sing that, because that'll bring tears to my eyes.
I'm looking at most of his music, and I think most of them would do that to me.
All right. I guess that means it's my turn. I was torn on this. I mean, I could see it due to the looks. And I know when you say the name, especially if you're old enough, there may be some eyes rolls and that kind of stuff. But he is a good actor, and he was kind of popular right around this time, or maybe a little bit later. Robbie Benson.
Oh, yeah.
How old would he have been?
He would have been. Well, he was born in 56.
19,
So
20.
19.
So he would have been.
19?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the way I did it was I kind of had Clark and Bruce like in their 40s.
Yeah.
And then that gave me the sons to be in their 19s, although the actors would probably be maybe a little bit older, obviously. So that's kind of how that was kind of the way I approached it.
And he's
Okay.
from Dallas, Texas.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that.
All right. Next.
If I may.
Yeah.
My choice was.
Oh, I missed you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My choice was Jan Michael Vincent.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
The
that.
guy always looks like he's in pain, and he's.
World's greatest athlete.
He's always kicking somebody's ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, no, he wasn't the world's greatest athlete.
That was the movie he was in. Wasn't that it? The Disney film?
I thought that was Kurt Russell. Another one of his.
Yeah, 1973. Nanu. World's greatest athlete.
That's cool.
Tim Conway
John
was in that
Amos. Yep. John Amos, Roscoe Lee Brown, Tim Conway.
movie. Interesting.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
He's been in Cheech and Chong, too.
No. Okay.
That's cool. I like that one.
Yeah. I mean, that would work. Sure.
Totally.
Definitely work. Okay. Now, who's next one?
All right. Next one up is Miss Kent. I kind of had the Lois Lane ideal in my head.
Mm-hmm.
She would be pretty, but she'd also be smart. So for this time period, I picked Dawn Wells, the girl next door.
Okay.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
It is a
I didn't think of that.
I didn't either.
I like that.
It escaped me.
Alrighty. Mikey.
Well, yeah, see, and this was part of why, I had to be careful with ages again. Because, yeah, I just couldn't think of a way to do this other than Lois Lane. And I noticed that you were very careful not to name Lois Lane when you put this on the list. You put Mrs. Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And Mrs. Wayne. We'll get to that one in a few minutes, but I couldn't do this any other way than to basically cast Lois Lane. And not unlike Liz, I went to 60s TV to find somebody to do this.
Okay.
I chose Yvonne DiCarlo.
Okay. Lily.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
She did a lot of other stuff too, and so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell, it would be fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, Les.
Okay, for me, luckily you don't see her face, but I picked Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
dang, we all doing TV stars here.
I was gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
the other girl next door.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I might as well continue the trend. Because yes, I did think of Lois when I was doing this. So the first face that popped in my head when I started working on this was Suzanne Pleshette.
Cool. Cool.
Like that one
I
too.
can totally see that.
Okay, all right. Well, it's already been mentioned that Mrs. Wayne's going to be next. So Liz.
So I had just cast one girl from Gilligan's Island, and it would have been easy to go with Tina Louise because, Batman would have picked that one up. But instead, I thought, no, I'm going to go super corny, and I went Raquel Welch.
Oh, yeah. Might as well swing for the fences, huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's Batman.
No problem with that.
Bruce, my buddy.
Right?
Hell yeah. That'll work.
That's where being Steve McQueen kind of pays off.
Well, could be. Something to be said for a little name recognition, yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, Mikey.
Okay, so with Mrs. Wayne, I felt like I had a little more wiggle room here.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up casting not that much wiggle room, but hang on, we'll get there.
He said wiggle.
Just a little bit.
You were saying, Mike.
Oh man, I went in two different directions here,
Okay.
because I figured there are some options with potential Mrs. Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
We've had several candidates over the years. None have actually gotten landed, but he's had a lot of fish on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a weird metaphor, I just realized. But anyway, I said it. I have to go with it now. So I went with two specifically because I thought they would probably be the most recognizable.
Okay.
So for the Vicky Vale option, I chose Beverly Garland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she is sort of the Lois Lane analog for Batman, sort
Yeah.
of. Or she could at least be played that way, and
Yeah.
I think I think Beverly Garland would bring a certain class along with some spunk to the proceedings.
Yeah.
Like she would, especially to put up with Batman.
Right. There's a lot to put up with, and she would be one who could throw down with with Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
no, fucker, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my son too.
This is my boy. This is my deal. This is not just you. Yeah. So I also, of course, had to go with the Catwoman option because, you just have to. Somewhere, you have to at least address the elephant in the room, or the really big cat, anyway.
Right.
And not entirely unlike Liz, I ended up choosing someone with some, shall we say, street cred. I chose Lauren Bacall.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Mysterious and Wily, come on. That she made a career out of that shit.
Yep.
So let's just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And cast Lauren Bacall as Catwoman.
That'll work.
I like that. Yep.
Okay.
Very different.
A little bit, I thought, and I thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Les.
For me, I knew Mrs. Wayne could not be, or who I picked for Mrs. Wayne couldn't be paired on the other side, and that's Elizabeth Montgomery.
Oh. Yeah.
She couldn't be paired because she deals with magic on her other TV show, and that would make Clark vulnerable.
Yep.
But Bruce doesn't have a problem with it, so what the hell?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Bruce would want to have that ace in the hole now, wouldn't he?
Mm.
Yep, he'd know how to defeat everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I like.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I went ahead and made the assumption that it is Selena Kyle as Mrs. Wayne. So I decided to be cute, and I cast Lee Merriweather.
Nice.
I was going to say Selena Gomez.
She wasn't born yet.
Right. But, still would have been funny.
Yeah.
Why the
Yeah.
hell not? This would be a nice
That's
callback to the 66 series.
Mm-hmm.
Which hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But okay.
Well, yeah. What?
What?
In 75?
It's like you're confusing me.
I think he's talking about the nice callback thing.
Oh.
I mean, come on, dude. Batman and Robin was an absolute callback. I mean, it wasn't very nice, but it was a callback.
Did I confuse her?
No, I'm good.
Yes, but she's recovered now.
I caught myself.
Okay. This one I kind of made optional as he was not actually included in the stories, but come on, he had to have been there. Let's cast Alfred.
Well, he was in a few side, where he was getting the uniforms and bugged one of them. And
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's just like a couple of panels.
It's like two panels out of 13
Right.
So,
out of 220 pages, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I wanted someone who would keep Batman on his toes. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if he was funny? So I had a particular character in mind when I picked John Cleese. And I want the Faulty Towers, John Cleese, as Alfred.
Oh, Lord, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I like it, though.
I do too.
I mean, if I was going to Cleese it up, I would probably go more like Archie from what was the name of that movie? The heist movie in the 80s.
Fish Call Wanda?
Yeah, Fish Called Wanda. That character I could see.
Yeah.
A little more toned down. But yeah.
Nice. Okay, Mikey.
You listed this one as optional, and honestly, given the time frame for this in terms of like their ages and how old they are and all that, those are. I just said the same thing twice, but that's okay. I'm not sure I would do Alfred directly, because it would be difficult to do a good Alfred who was enough older than Bruce to be still doing the job, as it were. You'd be looking at an Alfred in his 70s more than likely. And why would Bruce allow a 70-year-old Alfred to continue working?
To take care of him.
He would be sitting there. He might be still sitting there with them, but there would be somebody else doing the serving. But I figured if we're going to do it that way, I'm going to pick Christopher Lee for that role.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like
who
it.
would probably not 70 yet, but who gives a shit? It's Christopher Lee.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have makeup.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
He'd be an Alfred that would call him on his shit and be like, "No, you're going to listen."
Oh hell yeah!
This is what we're doing.
He would be the guy who would give Bruce, 50-year-old Bruce Wayne Batman, a look, and Bruce would be like, "Oh shit."
Yep.
And that's what I'm aiming for here.
Yes. Yep. That definitely.
That's what
I
I'm
like
aiming
that.
for.
Tired of your shit, we're done.
Right. If there's anybody more badass in the room than Batman, it's Alfred.
Yep.
Okay.
I like that.
Les.
I am like Liz. I too went foreign, and like Mike did also. I went with Alain Dion, the French actor.
Oh, that is interesting.
I think he would have been hitting that time frame about that time also.
That is an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep. Well, for me, I went cute again. He would have been right around 60 at the time, close to it. So, but then again, since I was casting 40-year-old Clark and Bruce, that kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
But I love them as Alfred in the films, so I was like, I got to do it. I went with Michael Gould.
Ooh.
The Alfred from the...
Another Hammer alum.
Yep, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I liked him as Alfred in that series of films. So it's like, hey, I can bring him back.
You can.
I like that.
Cool.
All right. Another great casting call, guys. I mean, this was some great choices and some great ideas.
Including the one where we almost all picked the same guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Clearly we were all right.
That's
The kids are all right.
That too.
Yep.
Now, if I may, I went a bit further and cast it mainly with comedians. These are the ones I came up with. Clark is Chevy Chase.
He plays a good Clark.
Junior, played by Gene Wilder.
Oh, jeez.
Batman by Tim Curry.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Junior by David McCallum. Mrs. Kent by Diane Thorne, who was in Ilsa the SS.
The She-Witch?
I'm sorry?
The She-Witch? What was the actual name of that movie? I know what you're talking about.
She played
Ilsa the She-Wolf of the SS.
She-Wolf, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, She-Wolf. I was close. Wow.
Mrs. Wayne is Malene Demongeau, who was in The Giant of Marathon with Steve Reeves.
Cool.
And Alfred is Kenneth Williams, who did 25 Carry-On movies.
Oh, dang, yeah. Nice.
Yep.
That would be a wild one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Another great casting call. So I hope y'all enjoy that. If y'all have your own choices, we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear them.
Please.
Yeah, tell us what you think, kind listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Even the unkind listeners can tell us if you want. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
I made it funny.
Anything else before we wrap it up and take a quick break?
Well, we're waiting.
Wow.
Nah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we need to head out right now. So, okay, we will be right back with Geek News for You. And we're back. It is time for Geek News for You. And in this segment, we pick a couple of news items to bring to the table for discussion. This week, it is Les and myself. Les, would you like to go ahead and go on?
Thank you, sir. What I found on YouTube under Emergency Awesome. This is a site that has different postings. The one I picked out was titled Aquaman 2 Teaser. Jason Momoa returns and Lobo teaser explained. So in this video, it's around, I want to say 10 minutes, but it's well worth the time. They start with Momoa being excited after coming out of the meeting of some execs from DC. He's excited, of course, with Aquaman 2 coming out, and he has been told that Aquaman is his. No one will be replacing him in Aquaman movies. And then he had some other stuff to talk about, which he could not speak of. And everybody and their dog is thinking that Lobo is in line, which is not the first time somebody has played two roles in movies.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking of Marvel. So with this, which will be posted, I think people will enjoy it and take it into consideration. Say, okay, this is cool stuff. So that's kind of my listing without giving away too much.
I think when they cast him as Aquaman, it was like, damn. But then when I heard Lobo, it was like, damn. I cannot think of a better person who I would want to see play Lobo. Jason Momoa lives as Lobo. It was made for him. So I'm hoping that's where they're going to take him. Like I said, I like him as Aquaman. I probably won't watch 2, but damn.
I don't know. Not sure he looks the part for Lobo.
Oh, he looks much like the part. All they'd have to do is like pale him up a little, keep him inside for a couple of weeks. Stay out of the sun, dude. Which is hard because he's Hawaiian,
Jensen Ackles was also considered.
Not for Lobo.
Yeah, for Lobo.
For Lobo?
Yeah.
He's not dirty enough for Lobo.
You're not biased at all either.
Not at all. No, even if
throw mud at him and he'll be dirty.
If you look at him in Soldier Boy, where they really kind of like grimed him up and beefed him up and everything else, he still didn't look Lobo. That biker dirt, not 52 Lobo at all. But he might be closer to a 52 Lobo.
I got a feeling that they are going to have to do something with Momoa. There's going to be prosthetics for that role,
yeah.
for sure. So if they can do it with him, they can do it with Jensen.
You saying
I
your
don't
boy
know.
can't act well enough to pull that off?
Oh, he could. He could, for sure.
No. See,
But
that's why they're balking at him.
I would like him in a more like a Nightwing or Red Hood or hell, even a Damien role would be cool.
He's
But
too old for
shit,
those
no.
roles. Come on.
well, Damien doesn't have to stay 8.
No, but if you take it much past
Robin
about
didn't.
14, it's not going to be Damien anymore.
Why did you change your name at 14?
No comment. The FBI doesn't let me talk about that.
Right.
But anyway,
Our nasty guy.
our NSA
The
dude,
NSA guy,
is,
Steve.
he's listening, and I can't discuss that.
Yeah. I think Jensen does good in a kick-ass role, but he's a smaller guy. So.
Well,
They won't have to do much to Momoa for that part.
No, I'll just spray paint him and call it good.
Yeah.
well, for my news item, this caught my eye. Could be kind of pretty interesting. It looks like there may be a project at Warner Brothers TV that's going to apparently will be available to be sold for some other streaming services if so. But it's involving Rami Malek and Matt Reeves. If this comes down, Rami would Rami, is it Rami or Rami? Rami?
I think it's Rami.
Rami.
Yeah.
Okay. Would star and produce, and Matt Reeves would produce and possibly direct. And it would be the biopic on Buster Keaton.
Ooh, interesting.
And it sounds like the source material that's being looked at to do the limited series is a book by James Curtis entitled Buster Keaton, A Filmmaker's Life. So
He has got the eyes to a T.
Oh, he does. Totally.
Yeah. I think
I was
he
kind of thinking the same thing.
Yes. And the way that he stepped into the Freddie Mercury part, I think he would respect the source and do a really good job.
Oh, yeah,
I like
he's
that.
good. No doubt about it. He is good. Yep.
so. You see why this kind of caught my attention.
Yes. We couldn't have cast that better.
So that will definitely be interesting if it comes down. So there really hasn't been any kind of official confirmations or anything, but this was actually an exclusive from Deadline, if I was not mistaken.
Huh.
But that's information that they've received. So.
I like that. I hope they do that though.
Yeah.
A lot of our I hate to say golden age actors. I don't know what to call them at that time period, but
Silent era.
And it seems like the more time that goes on, the more they're forgotten about with the newer crap, So it's nice that they go back and touch on this and kind of,
All right, remind people.
Yeah. This was greatness. This is, the stuff you're laughing at today came from this,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of the point I was trying to get at when we were talking about Rich Little's A Christmas Carol. With all the comedic actors that he impersonated, I was like, there's going to be a lot of people who would watch this now would not know who these people are. And that's a shame.
It is.
Because that was the vanguard. Those were the ones that inspired everybody else. I mean, Laurel and Hardy. I mean, come on.
Yep. How do they say it? These people had to crawl so these others could run.
Yep. So.
Always got to respect the classics somewhere, It really gives you, I hate to sound corny, but it really truly gives you an appreciation for what we have today. Just how far we've come, just, in cinema alone. But I hope they do this.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially with Matt Reeves. Wow,
Sure.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I saw this, it's like, I really hope this happens. I really do.
Yep.
What was the comedy show Raimi was on? He played a neighbor, and he left it at a position where he might have been gay. I don't remember the name, though.
Was it a comedy?
Yes.
So he was on Gilmore Girls too, but
The War at Home.
That sounds familiar.
He played Kenny.
This was in the 90s? Or
2005 to 2007.
that sounds about right.
Parents struggle to raise their teens. Also has Michael Rappaport. Does that help?
I think
Anita
you're right.
Bray.
I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, he was on 21 episodes for that show. Okay.
and I know he's 40, but I feel like here recently he's really found his stride with roles and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Okay. Yeah. Any special shout outs or mentions this week?
No, I don't think so.
Not here.
Okay. We'll go and move on to our regular shout outs. I want to thank Pop Goes to Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of fellow podcasters. There will be a link in the show notes where you can check them out. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Podern Family, who've been so kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. So go to Twitter, do a search, hashtag Podern Family. Just go through the list, whatever catches your eye. Click on that link and download the episode, please. And we hope you have a great time listening to them. Thank you guys as always. Excuse me. I want to thank Maddie the Martyr for supplying the music to our show. In our show notes, we'll have a link to where you can check out their music. And finally, thank you, dear listener, for listening and downloading, obviously. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. And there are several ways you can do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. If you join our Discord, we do have a channel specifically for feedback where you can post your thoughts, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Social media. We're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram, @FellowshipGeeks. Hive Social, the same name, @FellowshipGeeks. And obviously on Twitter, @FellowshipGeeks as well. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you take a couple extra moments to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate you listening and the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,